Hello everybody. This week we're going to talk about the 1938 movie Algiers. Algiers is a movie that stars Charles Boyer as Pepe Le Moko, Hedy Lamar in her first American movie as Gabby, Sigrid Gurie as Anès, and Joseph Calleia as Semaine. The movie Algiers is about Pepe Le Moko. He's a notorious thief, and after his greatest heist, he escapes from France to Algiers. And since his escape, he kind of became a leader of the Casbah. And the Casbah is the native quarter of Algiers. And then French officials arrive in Algiers and insist on Pepe's arrest. And of course, the local detectives take a slower approach, are trying to stall the arrest of Pepe because of his standing in the local community. And Pepe starts feeling trapped, he feels cornered. He meets Gabby, who is visiting from France, and that stirs jealousy in his girlfriend Anès. And Algiers is directed by John Cromwell, who is, yes, James Cromwell's father.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
He was a prominent director back in old Hollywood, directing movies such as Prisoner of Zenda, Anna and the King of Siam, and Caged. Algiers was nominated for 4 Oscars in 1939. Those were Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Leading Actor for Charles Boyer. The movie also had a supporting role by Gene Lockhart in it, and he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Now, Algiers was a remake of the 1937 French film Pepe Le Moko, which is arguably a lot better film, but neither of them are bad movies. As we still do today, a lot of foreign films are remade for the American audiences and put out by the Hollywood system, especially back in the 1930s. Walter Wagner, the producer of Algiers, actually tried to get all of the copies of the French film destroyed, and he was largely unsuccessful at doing that. Although, try to find a copy of Pepe Le Moko now. I mean, I couldn't when making this video. The big difference in the French version of the movie and Algiers is the ending of the movie is different. They even used the same closing credits music in Algiers as they did in Pepe Le Moko. But everything besides the ending is a pretty faithful remake of the French movie. And Charles Boyer's character of Pepe Le Moko was the inspiration for the cartoon character Pepe Le Pew. And for the rest of his life, Charles Boyer had a catchphrase that actually came from this movie, or this movie's trailer. It's actually never heard in the finished product of the movie. The famous line is, "Come with me to the Casbah." And another interesting thing is the movie Algiers was the inspiration for the movie Casablanca. In fact, a large inspiration of Casablanca was the exotic location and Hedy Lamar herself. Warner Brothers actually wanted Hedy Lamar for Casablanca, but MGM wouldn't release her from her contract so she could be sent on loan to do the Warner Brothers movie. And yes, the movie Algiers was a success at the box office. The profit made from this movie was over $150,000, which is quite a substantial profit for a film made in the 1930s. So the movie Algiers was filmed on the studio backlot, the Warner Brothers studio backlot that still exists today. It was filmed on their Dijon Street, and although by and large the movie is filmed on the backlot, they do exterior establishing shots in actual Algiers. And besides Algiers being a remake of a French film and the inspiration for the movie Casablanca, it was also remade in 1946 with the movie Casbah, which is a musical remake of the movie. And there was also a 1949 Italian parody of the movie called Pepe Le Moko. And to add to all these remakes and renditions that started with a French film, this movie was also adapted for radio, which was also popular at the time. At one point, it had Hedy Lamar and Charles Boyer did do a radio version of this together. Also, there's a version of the radio version done by Orson Welles and Paulette Goddard. So the movie Algiers is not a movie you should sleep on. If you haven't seen it, you should find it some way. It is in the public domain, so it is available from a lot of places, although some of the versions that you can find, because it's public domain, are lesser copies of it, not very good transfers, so be aware of that. And it is a 1938 movie, so it's up there in age, but there's a lot of 1930s movies that no one should sleep on. And so if you are a fan of films, this is one of those movies that you should really see. And it has a certain place in Hollywood history of being a remake of a French film from the 1930s. So you see that trend there. You see it inspiration for another movie, and one of the biggest classic movies of all time, Casablanca. You see it remade into a musical during, the time when musicals were the biggest thing out there. So this movie, Algiers, holds a high spot, if you think about it, in film history. And not to mention the inspiration for the character Pepe Le Pew. Let's not forget that part of Hollywood history. But again, thank you for joining me. My name is Stacia, and I am just someone on the internet that is a huge fan of movies, and I like talking about them. And if that sounds like something you like, please support my channel, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and leave me a comment. I love talking to you about the movies. But I will see you all next time. I love you all. Bye.